Yo, what is up, guys? And welcome to another episode of Excuse the Miamians. Today is a really big one. It is our 49th episode, and hopefully my 50th episode will be with the Dolphins winning the AFC East. But let's wait on that, right? Today, the Dolphins are going to be, tomorrow, the Dolphins are going to be playing the Buffalo Bills at home. Whoever ends up winning gets the AFC East, and those are major implications entering the playoffs. And can Miami do enough, right? Do they have enough to win? And we'll see what happens. But remember, the first time around, it was a destruction, right? The Dolphins ended up getting housed pretty much 48-20. And remember, that was after the Dolphins ended up winning by 7. They had a 70-point burger against the Broncos. So Miami goes into Buffalo, high hopes. Can they win? Can they destroy the Bills? Can they actually say, listen, we're going to enter Buffalo. We're finally going to win a game? No, they didn't. They got housed. And I felt like that was like, you touching, ground again. You're like, okay, I got to relax. Football, still football. We got to take things game by game. But that game was completely crazy because the Dolphins, the only injured player that they had at the moment, and I think Jalen Phillips was not playing either. But one of the craziest things was that Jalen Ramsey was not playing and X was playing. Now, tomorrow, the game, it's going to be reversed, right? The game is going to be reversed. You're going to have Jalen Ramsey playing, but no Xavier Howard. And it's a little tough because Miami needs to have him. They need it because you don't want Eli Apple there. You don't. You also don't want Kader Kohou getting destroyed by Stephon Diggs again. So you're going to wonder how Vic Fangio's scheme is going to work. But anyway, let's go over some Dolphins injury report because the injury report, I think, has like 15 or 16 players for Miami. It is insane. So obviously Bradley Chubb, he had the ACL tear, so he's not going to be playing. He did have surgery. Mike McDaniel said that everything turned out to be good, which is obviously a really, really good thing. But Xavier Howard is going to be with his foot injury and he's out for the game. Mike McDaniel said that yesterday. So I wonder how they're going to play the defensive scheme. Vic Fangio, like I said, you got to come up with something, man, because you don't want Stephon Diggs running all over this team again. Then Jerome Baker, he was actually out for a really long time. He was an IR, but they're saying that he's questionable right now, but I do think he's going to play. It's been 4 games. I think he's healed enough. It is going to be a big loss if they do not have him. And on top of that, Robert Hunt, another player that has been out for quite some time, he is supposedly going to play tomorrow. They're saying that he is good to go, and he was a full participant in practice. So that's really good news for Miami. I'm expecting for him to play. Now, the players that I don't know about, I think Raheem Mostert will play. I know that he didn't play last game because he had that injury, but I do expect him to play. Now, for Jalen Waddle, I want to put in it for example, right? He's dealing with a knee and ankle injury. He probably has a high ankle sprain, which it's a little difficult to play with, but if we're going to throw it back, we're going to be playing, I think it was against the Jets. Tyreek Hill, the game before against the Titans, suffered a high ankle sprain. Now, he ended up taking that day off, and he had practice prior on that Sunday, and he looked really, really good. But the reason why he took it off, he wasn't healthy enough. So what happens to Jalen Waddle? He was practicing yesterday. They were getting footage on it, and he looked like he was playing great. But can he hit those specific cuts? When the offense, you need to try to hit that cut to get the ball. I do not know if in the practice they were able to do that, but if they couldn't, I don't expect Jalen Waddle to play. Now, if he does give it a go, I do hope that that injury does not get worse because we're going to need him healthy for the playoffs. Really healthy. But anyway, he's going to be questionable as well. Now, everybody else that I'm reading is a full participant. We had Devon Achane with a toe and rib injury. He was a full participant. Teron Armstead, he has the knee, ankle, and back, but he was a full participant. I've already spoken to you guys a bunch of times and I've said if he's not healthy and he's not on the list, if he's on the list, he'll most likely play unless it's out. We got Lester Cotton, the guard with a hip injury, full participant. Liam Eichenberg, Tyreek Hill, Javon Holland, Austin Jackson, David Long, Jalen Ramsey, Duke, Zach Sealer, Tua, and Mike White. Everybody is a full participant, so everybody is ready to go for that game. But let's talk about the Buffalo Bills. You saw Josh Allen against the Patriots. He did suffer, I think it was a right finger injury, but he has been a full participant. He is ready to go. He actually spoke the other day saying that this is a playoff game for them. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Leonard Floyd, full participant. Micah Hyde, full participant. Damar Hamlin, Von Miller, they were limited, but except for Von Miller, he was actually full participant. But Mitch Morse and Stephon Diggs did not practice. I still do expect them to play. The thing about the Bills, I think that they're one of the only teams in, I think it's like an NFL history that they played, their entire line has not suffered an injury. So that is amazing for them. I mean, they're pretty healthy up front. So Miami is a little depleted. We'll see how that goes. But tomorrow's game is going to be super tough. Buffalo, entering the week, I think they were like a 3-point favorite. Now it went down to 2.5, but they have a 54% chance of winning. Let's talk about the passing yards. Josh Allen, I almost said Jalen Allen. Josh Allen, 355 for 541. He has 3,947 yards, 27 TDs, and 16 interceptions. The thing about Josh Allen, he has a bunch of running touchdowns. So I think he has like 40 something touchdowns. But he's leading the league right now in total touchdowns. We have Tua Tagovailoa, 371 for 533, 4,451 yards, 28 TDs, and 12 interceptions. Then Cook. He's been playing crazy for the Bills, right? He's been doing amazing rushing. He actually ended up having that really big game against the Cowboys, and I thought Miami was going to start running the ball more. Come on, I don't want to talk about it, but they need to start running the ball more. Cook, 224 carries, 1,086 yards, 2 touchdowns. Raheem Mostert is leading the league for the Dolphins in touchdowns. He has 209 carries, 1,012 yards, and 18 TDs. And on receiving, we got Stephon Diggs with 100 receptions, 1,096 yards, and 8 TDs. And we have Tyreek Hill leading the league with 112 receptions, 1,717 yards, and 12 TDs. So it's going to be a really, really big matchup. It's going to be one of those things that nobody's going to want to lose this one, right? You know, the Bills, they've always dominated Miami, whether it's been in Buffalo or Miami. I think Josh Allen has only lost twice to the Dolphins, and he's been playing football now for like 5 or 6 years. It's like, man, come on. But Miami needs to try to win this, right? I've experienced the Dolphins winning the AFC East once in my lifetime, but I think that if the Dolphins are going to want to show that they are a bigger and better team than they were before, they need to win this one. They really need this because, man, you've lost to big teams. And I know it's not a big deal. Like, people make it out to be a big deal. Miami's already in the playoffs, but you haven't really beat a lot of winning teams. And that's just the narrative that's been flowing around. But the Buffalo, I mean, we've seen the Dolphins, right? They've only scored about 20 points every single time they play really big opponents. And they need to try to get more points. Whether it's Jalen Waddle injury or a Tyreek Hill injury, you still need to overcome that and you need to play better. And one of the things that I want Mike McDaniel to do more, because he should have done it more against the Ravens, was run the ball more. There were a lot of times, I mean, Achane had 100-something yards. He was doing great. They couldn't stop him. Why you continue throwing the ball? Just keep it running. And I know you have big playmakers like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but you do need to continue running the ball if it is working. So one of the things that the Patriots did, they were running the ball a lot. It worked for them. Miami needs to try to do that. And I just hope they do it, right? That's just what you want Miami to do. You want Miami to run the ball. But on the Buffalo Bills side, they got a lot of things that they can exploit Miami. One of them is being Eli Apple and Kader Kohou. So let's talk about it. Xavier Howard is out. Jalen Ramsey is in. One of the things about the Vic Fangio system is that we do not see anybody ever shadowing somebody. It's always usually like, play back or play like zone. And I feel like they need to change that. Vic Fangio needs to have Stephon Diggs being guarded the entire game one-on-one by Jalen Ramsey. We've already seen it. Kader Kohou was going up against Stephon Diggs. He completely destroyed him. And last game, we already saw a lot of problems with Eli Apple and with Kader Kohou. I hope they are able to just, have the game one-on-one, them two, and then everybody else try to find what you got to do. It doesn't matter. Josh Allen's going to run, right? He's going to run. But you need Christian Wilkins to get in his head again because Miami really does need that. Now, Miami's offensive struggles against big teams, like I said, if you run the ball more, maybe it'll help you out. But you need to be careful when you throw it because they got some legit weapons. I know the Bills, they had Milano injured, but they were able to overcome that. And if there's one team in the league that is right now probably favorites to just continue making a long push into the playoffs, it is the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills have won 4 in a row, right? So we'll talk about it. They beat Kansas. Kansas has been pretty bad, but they still beat them. That's still a playoff team. They beat the Dallas Cowboys. They almost lost to the Chargers, and they almost lost to, well, not almost lost, but to the Patriots. And They've already won 4 in a row. A recipe for success is always winning right before you enter the playoffs. And if Miami's able to stop that, there's a lot of things that can happen for Miami entering the playoffs. So you get that home field advantage. Then you'd probably have to play the culture of the Jaguars in the first round. That really does benefit Miami. And then whether Kansas wins or whoever wins, they still need to go to Miami and play if Miami is able to continue that long stretch in the playoffs. But let's talk about the Bills, right? The Bills, today there's going to be a game, and that is a major implication for the Bills. We're going to be seeing the Pittsburgh Steelers playing against the Ravens. If the Steelers do end up winning and Jacksonville wins on Sunday, the Bills losing against Miami, they will be eliminated from playoff contention. So imagine that, a team that can win the second in the AFC East, second place in the whole entire AFC, could potentially be eliminated. That is insane. So for them, it is a playoff game. They're going to want to win this. They're going to want to come out and say, well, they want to make a statement. But we'll see if Miami can try to do the statement. One of the things I will say, Miami does need to try to contain committing turnovers, whether it's dropping the ball, whether it's Tua throwing an interception. They need to try to stop that. And Tua's been, last game he threw 2 interceptions. Before that, he hadn't thrown one for 5 games. So you want to make sure that you do not do it. You want to have a clean game like you did against the Cowboys. And I'm hoping that Miami can do that. Now, I don't usually do final score predictions because I'm not the best at doing score predictions. But I will say, who do I think will win? And I don't want you to call me a fake Dolphins fan. I've been watching Dolphins football for at least 10 or 13 years, 14, 15 years of my life. But I do not know. I think the Bills are going to win this game. The way that the Dolphins are injured right now, up front, they're injured in the secondary. I just don't know how Miami will be able to do it. I want to hope that Miami could have enough offensive firepower to try to dominate the Bills. But if the Bills are scoring on every single drive, or at least going down the field and getting 3 points, if they get 3 points, sure, that's perfect. But you need Miami to be getting these touchdowns. I don't want to see fade passes to Tyreek Hill. You need to do them to other players. Like you got to get somebody taller out there to catch that, whether it's Wilson, whether it's Claypool, somebody else, but it cannot be Tyreek. And I just wonder, Miami, they need to show up. They really do. I heard that a lot of Dolphins fans have been selling their tickets and Buffalo Bills fans have been buying them, that they're going to sell out the stadium. I hope they don't. I hope that there's more Miami fans, and I hope they do show up because they need to win this. But at the time being, I'm hoping that Miami does have enough, but I do see Buffalo winning this game. And I hope that is not the case because I want the Dolphins to enter the playoffs and be playing at home for the first time in quite some time. But regardless, I hope you guys did enjoy. Tell me what you think about the game, what's going to happen in the comments below if you are on YouTube. If you are listening on Spotify, thank you so much for listening. I'll probably end up doing a question for everybody on Spotify. If you guys have not followed the YouTube, just look up Excuse the Miamians and follow it. Same thing for Spotify because we are trying to get our numbers up. So thank you guys so much for all the help, all the support. And on top of that, please follow the Twitter. It's at Love Miami Sports. You'll see that the name is Excuse the Miamians. With that being said, I hope you guys have a beautiful day. And as always, go Dolphins.